Welcome back, you beauties. Thank you so much for being vulnerable, for talking with us, for embracing our mental health this morning. And I think that really does come to bear when you're in a relationship with someone that you love. It can be the most enriching, rewarding, and terrifying experience. It can be so challenging when you face hurdles of everyday life together because you're in it as a team. But if your partner struggles with mental illness, the stakes are a little bit higher. Those issues can become much more intense for both of you.
And understanding the needs of someone with mental illness, it can be challenging. And you may not know how to support your partner living with mental illness while caring for your own needs too. Well, that's why we need all the help we can get to unpack this. We have registered counsellor Courtney Potto joining us in studio. Courtney, it's great to have you here.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here.
This is a tricky one because as a partner, you want to show support, but unpacking your partner's mental illness might make them feel overwhelmed or even stigmatized.
Judged.
What is the best approach?
I think the best approach is, first of all, getting in touch with your partner's sort of signs and symptoms. So asking them what are their specific symptoms that they're experiencing, whatever mental health diagnosis that they might have, how it impacts them on a day-to-day basis so that you can have a better understanding and support them better. And then just letting them know that you are there to offer them support, that they can openly communicate to you, that they can share their feelings, and really sort of, give them that supportive, open communication environment that they need.
You've already hit on kind of like a fault line there for me. It's because you want to support someone, yet you're going to someone who probably doesn't have any of the answers and asking them what do they need. They're not going to be able to prompt that. They themselves are obviously going through it, and I speak from personal perspective on both sides of this dynamic. So we want to be supportive, but not in a way that places extra kind of onus on the person coming up with those solutions. Every step forward has got to be a step in the right way. That speaks more to creating an atmosphere, a support structure, maybe bringing in some daily routines and practices that can kind of take that edge off and just make it about a cup of tea. How do we do that? How do we kind of take the edge off, maybe is a good way to put it?
I think, creating the home environment to be sort of a stable place is really, really important. So, prioritizing your physical health is first and foremost what you should be doing because, of course, that impacts mental health in a positive way. So, having a healthy routine of getting out, moving your body, going on walks or doing these simple things that sort of really, really help to...
It's not complex.
No, it's not at all.
Walk a kilometer more today than you did yesterday.
100%.
That's success. And your brain is going to register that success.
100%.
I love
that. So it's just making small changes, small positive changes to your daily routine. Anything that helps you in any kind of way. And that really, creates a foundation for good mental health and wellness.
Well, Courtney, the beginning or whenever medication changes, it can always be tricky. You're not always guaranteed the right combination of meds is working for you, or perhaps you're outgrowing the meds and you need to maybe reassess. Now, as the person who's maybe the observer of the partner experiencing the mental illness, we would be the first to notice signs that, hey, maybe we need to go back to the doctor. Generally, the partner suffering from mental illness will take offense to something like that. How can we approach when we notice, something's not working, we need to refigure, we need to work something out? How can we approach that with our partner?
Yeah, I think just gently bringing it up to them, not being forceful in any kind of way, gently encouraging, saying, okay, I've noticed this or I've noticed that, any sort of changes in their behavior, you can just bring it to their attention because often the person who's struggling might not be aware of any changes.
They're in that racket.
Yes, they're so in it that they're not actually aware. So just bringing it to their attention that you've noticed certain changes, how they're feeling about it, and would they be willing to maybe, get involved in some more intensive intervention. So it's just really just bringing it up in a gentle way without being forceful.
And I think if you can set that up with, if therapy is being used, which I hope it is in this sort of instance, maybe setting it up with a group session at some point.
Yes.
So you've got someone to give you the tools and the language. I think that helps. Something that certainly I think has come forward to me, and maybe before I head out and refill my cup with another performance from Namakal Star, it triggers me often when I see the person I love the most going through these things. The degree of my triggering is generally the degree of how I haven't dealt with something within myself. So how do we kind of deal with that mutual journey? Because if you're better, you're going to help another person far more. So how much should we be looking at ourselves when we're going through this process to be that support structure?
Yeah, so I think, when it comes to therapy and any sort of mental health journey, it's open for everyone. A lot of people think that there has to be something wrong before you engage in therapy, but really you can use it to, capitalize on your existing character strengths, to be a more supportive person, to learn active listening skills or communication skills, and then in that way you can be a better support system for your partner, however that may be. So it's just working on yourself as a person, and also prioritizing your own self-care. You can't pour from an empty cup, so you've got to prioritize yourself and your own wellness, and then you'll be able to give of your best to everyone else.
So the airplane analogy, you've got to put oxygen on first, otherwise you might pass out and then you can't help anyone.
Yeah.
All right, so Zoe's going on a relationship boot camp now ahead of her wedding, so I'm going to let you take this over for now. I'm going to go refill my cup and let my mental health be free with another performance, but enjoy.
Well, Courtney is not going anywhere. We're going to take a quick break from the heat and then just hop on over to our social media if you would love to join this conversation. We are at Expresso Show, or send us a voice note. Our number is 063-408-8863. We would love for you to be part of this conversation. Perhaps you have a question you would love to ask Courtney. She's not going anywhere, so stay tuned. It's my feel-good breakfast show. Welcome back. It is your Feel-Good Breakfast Show. We are back with Courtney Potto to discuss our relationship topic this morning. Earlier, we spoke about how to support our partners who have received a mental health disorder diagnosis. And now we have another question. How do I manage a partner who abuses the fact that they have a mental health disorder? And this is a tricky one, because I think there are quite a few people that will use their own mental health situation or scenarios as excuses or potentially manipulation. How do we, as the partner on the receiving end, handle the sensitivity around that?
Well, I think there's a few things to look out for, to spot someone who is potentially manipulating the situation or who's genuinely struggling and trying to get through it. So I think the first thing is communication, just looking out for, are they communicating with you on a daily basis, where they're at emotionally, to give you a bit of context and to give you a bit of a heads up. Are they making a genuine effort to go to their therapy sessions or, take the medication as prescribed, whatever their treatment plan may be? And then, are they showing genuine remorse after potential, emotional outbursts or any sort of unhealthy behavior? So these are the things to look out for. And then in terms of managing it, I suppose it's just, working on your own self-esteem, managing your own boundary settings, making sure that you hold them accountable for any unhealthy behavior that is unwarranted, if they don't show remorse afterwards or make a concerted effort to change. So it's very complex, and there's many layers.
Yeah.
But I think, those are just some of the things to look out for. And I think boundaries is also just a big one. So just being mindful of that.
It is a big, important one. And like you said, there are so many layers to it. We are potentially just scratching the surface here. Courtney, I also wanted to know for you, can you just give us some insight to the potential consequences to the partner who is suffering from mental illness and is using that in a manipulative situation, the impact it will have on the relationship and potentially the supporting partner?
Yeah, so I mean, there's many consequences that could, arise from that. One thing is that if you are manipulating certain things, or if you're not, engaging in the right treatment plan and wallowing in the mental illness, you do run the risk of losing, important relationships in your life, because it puts emotional strain on other people, So, you might feel yourself becoming a bit isolated from friends and family. And then in your own partnership, in your relationship, it might cause a bit of conflict to arise in the home, conflict that can't be solved because you are not taking the steps to sort of engage in a healthy treatment plan. So there's a lot of things, but I think, becoming isolated is a big one, big consequence, because that also kind of exacerbates your own mental health symptoms, whatever that may be. You need a support system. Exactly, and you need a support system around you. So it's just, the isolation and then, relationship strain. Your partner becomes emotionally drained, or if there's children involved, they are then exposed to unhealthy coping mechanisms in the home. So there's loads of different consequences for sure.
Many consequences for sure. Now, I have had friends who have had partners who just didn't want to help themselves. So what do you do in a scenario where your partner is refusing to seek treatment or refusing to go to therapy and actually take ownership of their own mental health?
I think the important thing to understand is that you will get the most benefit out of therapy if you go into it willingly. So when it comes to encouraging a partner to go to therapy or, follow their treatment plan, it's important to encourage them gently without telling them what to do. But also you can bring into their awareness how it impacts you as their partner, if they don't work on their mental health. So you can just, bring them back to the reality of the situation, that their situation impacts other people a lot as well. So it's just the gentle encouragement without being forceful about it. And then also trying to understand why they want to refuse the treatment. Why, are they feeling stigmatized? Are they fearful of it? And then just trying to open up that conversation and be supportive and encouraging.
Definitely. Well, Courtney, you've shed some light for us. Thank you for joining us today. And even though this conversation might be over here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show, it's a conversation we love to continue, and we're taking it online, so you can join the conversation. And if you want to send us voice notes, you're welcome to do so on our WhatsApp number. Our number is 063-408-8863.